It was September 2008, and on Wall Street, a silence had fallen over the trading floors. That felt louder than any crash. For decades, one name had stood as a monument to American finance: Lehman Brothers. 158 years old, survivor of wars, depressions, and every panic in between. It was, by every measure, too important to fail. And yet, behind closed doors in a nondescript building near the Federal Reserve, a small group of the most powerful bankers in the world had gathered for an emergency they hoped no one would ever hear about. Lehman was drowning in toxic mortgage debt, loans built on promises that should never have been made, bundled and resold until no one could say where the rot actually was. For months, the warnings had been quiet, almost invisible. A credit downgrade here, a nervous phone call there. But now the company needed billions just to survive the week, and no one was answering the phone. Inside that emergency room of finance, the choice was brutal and binary: save Lehman, and risk the fury of a public already weary of bank bailouts. Let it fall, and risk something no one could fully calculate: a chain reaction tearing through banks, pension funds, and ordinary households who had never even heard the words mortgage-backed security. They let it fall. In the early hours of September 15th, Lehman Brothers filed for the largest bankruptcy in American history. By morning, employees were carrying boxes out of the building in full view of television cameras. The cardboard, a strange, almost absurd symbol of a system unraveling in real time. But the silence that followed was the most dangerous part. Within hours, credit markets across the globe began to freeze. Banks stopped trusting other banks. Money market funds, long considered untouchable, began to break. The insurance giant AIG teetered on the edge of collapse just one day later, and this time, the government did intervene, pouring in billions. Terrified of what a second domino might trigger, ordinary people watched their retirement accounts evaporate. Their job offers vanish. Their banks suddenly look fragile in a way they never had before. The crisis had a name by then, one that would haunt policy rooms for years to come: too big to fail. What had started as a quiet warning in a spreadsheet had become a global reckoning, and the question it left behind was never fully answered. If the biggest banks could threaten the entire world economy simply by collapsing, were they really being controlled? Or were they controlling everything else? Subscribe us for more unexplained stories.